Hello, everyone. How are you doing this morning? And let's see what we got going here. And I think we just got a couple people in here. Well, it's set up here in the corner. It says five up here. So I know of only three people making comments in the chat. And so we got Super Scout and Walt Rogers, and of course, myself saying hi to everybody. So that's what we got here so far. And for those that are catching this on the replay here and later on today, if you were here last night for Survival Saturday, I am feeling much better. As soon as I got done with last night's show, went in, just laid down on the bed there. 2.5 hours, I woke back up. I didn't even get in the cover. I just laid down on the bed. 2.5 hours, woke up feeling fine. Did a couple of little tweaks here on the computer on some of the stuff, and then actually went to bed and woke up at it said 5 o'clock by the other one, which actually made it 6 o'clock. Yeah, made it so basically 6 o'clock after the great fraud of time. Daylight savings time, which is one of the biggest frauds there is out there, costs the country billions of dollars every year. And you're wondering how all the lost productivity stuff tomorrow, there's going to be a bunch of people late. Even those that are supposed to be working today, a bunch of them are late. People are going to be extra tired for this next week. It's adjusted a time frame. People get sicker after in the spring, get sicker more in the spring after the daylight, the time change. So it's just because they're trying to force something unnatural on their bodies. All righty, so let's hang on, let me get this over here. Where is it? There it is. Get that there up, and let's put me up here in the corner here right now. Boom, there we go. Yeah, let me go ahead and take the highlighting off of here. Boom, there we go. And so we started yesterday morning. We read some into chapter 7 a little bit because finished up chapter 6 with hardly any corrections. And we got a couple more people in here. All right. So we finished up yesterday's reading, finished 6 because I don't want as many corrections. After I was sliding right on into the beginning of 7, got some stuff done, and so we finished off with Kimberly's and Michael's SOG Special Operation Group. A bunch of the new recruits there going in, being Wednesday morning check-in. And everyone arrived, plus some extras that came in. Got some surprise ones from the Utah State University in Cedar City. Some of the ROTC came over and joined in. All right, and basically, so they wound up a few more people than Kimberly was hoping to get into that signed up for the SOG, and so we're gonna pick up here, and then everyone got their uniform. They're going around getting their uniforms, and it described the new barracks that got finished the day before, as everybody moved into it. Those that came early from the city meetings at Fredonia and Kanab, there were a group that came in that were allowed to come in early. They were there and helping things out, and so they moved all their stuff in, and so yeah. Anyway, so now we're just picking up after lunch, and everyone's back in the workstation maintenance bay, and so we're gonna pick it up here. And let me get another shot of this stuff. Oh, this stuff actually tastes good. It's just that it's so friggin' carbonated. It's like Barks root beer. So overly carbonated that's just not good for you. For it, just my whole mouth just goes just in pain, tingling from the carbonation. If I was smart, I would have opened this up a couple hours ago and stirred it several times to get as much of the carbonation out of it. All right, here we go. After lunch, all of the recruits, re-enlistments, were in the workstation bay, and Colonel Houston was starting a formal in-brief. The recruits, re-enlistments, ROTC, and new Saga recruits that were not present during the meetings during the previous meetings, the previous meetings, were given a rundown on the situations with Heaven's Devils, their plans, the government's response so far with the military, federal law enforcement, state, and local law enforcement working together to stop them. He had explained he started to explain that they had captured several members during the last raid, and they were being interrogated. And they were being interrogated. Period. Just then, Corey Kirby came running. Hang on, into the bay. There we go. Came running into the bay and headed straight to Albert and held out a folded piece of paper. Sorry, I need to get this here. And said, "Dispatch from the Angel of Death." Colonel Houston took the paper and folded it and read it. "Show it." As Kirby began hooking up the overhead projector to the recently installed intranet in the work station maintenance bay, he spoke. "Since yesterday, Commander Smythe and the interrogators have been working on the leaders of the Heaven's Devils gang we captured. This is being done in the historic Jacob Lake Ranger Station barn, which we just refer to as the barn. There were 17 of them. He hooked up a laptop to a big wireless receiver to the. Then he hooked up a laptop with a big wireless. The Angel of Death has been heading up interrogations with the Red Assassin, the Green Archer, assisting yesterday. After dinner, the Angel of Death continued the interrogations with the assistance of the new NSA interrogators. Famine, pestilence, and plague. They just discovered that at least one of the subjects is a regional leader of Heaven's Devils. You're ready to go live," Corey said into his headset, nodded, and said, "Going live." The image that flashed onto the screen was divided into 4 sections. One was from the upper corner of the room behind Commander Smythe. One was from the opposite upper corner. One was from the front door, about 5 feet above the floor, looking at those strapped to a large wood slab, and it panned, tilted, and zoomed to whoever was being questioned at the time. The fourth was a wireless camera sitting on the wooden slab in front of whomever the interrogators wanted a close-up of. Besides Commander Smythe, there were 3 others in the room. All 3 were dressed in the same heavy-duty hooded black rain jacket and pants black rubber boots, and black rubber gloves. The rain pants met the rubber boots and hang on. Hang on, I need to fix this here. Where the rain pants met the rubber boots and jackets were duct tape closed, as well as around where the sleeves met the gloves. And where and where the hoods met the plague doctor masks that they wore. The only difference between them was the color of their masks. The masks were red, white, and brown. Now, Mr. Johnson, we have collaborated the information you accidentally provided with the slip of your tongue. You can now voluntarily collaborate the information as the others provided when we told them of your slip of the tongue, or the good doctor here can continue working on your teeth. Commander Smythe cocked her head to the side as she leaned forward. There is a bonus for you if you cooperate. Once we collaborate all the information you provide, you will not be fed alive to the hogs. The doctor will fix your teeth. You'll be given a week's worth of food and water, and then you'll be set free. On that, you have my word. Several of the officers gasped that she would make such a promise, but Corey started laughing and pumped his fist and uttered excitedly, "Yes!" Your word, Johnson said. I am Eleanor Mary Elizabeth Smythe, third child and second daughter of Duke Anthony Robert Smythe and Lady Jessica Windsor. Windsor Smythe. My mother is fourth cousin of King Arthur Philip George and his wife Elizabeth Coburg of Kent. I am fifth and favorite cousin of their son Prince Edward of Wales. On my 16th birthday, I was commissioned as a sub-lieutenant, and 5 years later, I achieved the rank of commander of His Majesty's Navy. Then I was recruited in the MI6 and assigned to work with the CIA and the DOD. I give you my word. Do you doubt it? Not anymore, Johnson said wide-eyed. Shark is the regional guy overrunning guns and explosives. Jumbo's is from the National Committee. Little John is his bodyguard. Donnie Boy is not our chapter president. T-Rex is. Donnie Boy is his lieutenant. The feed from the barn cut off, and Lieutenant Colonel Nola Houston appeared. Colonel, I believe it is time to dispel Commander Smythe so she can get some shut-eye. The others need a break too. Can Captain Jackson come over? Of course, Albert responded. Misery and Pain have finished making their outfits and are ready to replace the others, Nola added. Kimberly looked at Michael and mouthed, Misery and Pain? Michael shrugged shrugged with a very puzzled look. Albert turned to Michael and Kimberly and nodded to go. They're on their way. Hang on, I need to fix. I need to put this up here. Let me do this up here. Albert said go. As he turned to get this corrected here. as he turned to Michael and Kimberly and nodded. They're on their way. Aye, Colonel, they said together and then hurried out. Corey quickly disconnected the laptop with the wireless receiver and packed it up. Specialist Kirby, Colonel Houston spoke. Yes, sir. I take it there is some hidden meeting between the wording that Commander Smythe used when promising to let Mr. Johnson go. She didn't promise to let him go, Corey chuckled. I heard what we wanted him to hear, Corey interjected. She said she would set him free, not let him go. But Albert started, then stopped and looked questioningly at Corey. And she shall set him free of this mortal world, he laughed. And I looked and I beheld a pale horse, and her name that sat upon it was Eleanor Smythe, and she was the angel of death. And all hell followed with her, and power was given over her over the whole of the earth to kill with hammer and sword, and with lightning and soldering iron, with death's stare, and with all hell, and with the beasts of the earth and fires of heaven to devour all she slays. Albert looked over at Captain Larry Robinson and Master Sergeant Grim Payton. I blame you two. Larry responded, I blame Major Cooper and First Sergeant Young. And okay, and we're down to just 4 watching again. All right, and let me see here. I'm going to try something here that I haven't done on the other ones. I'll put that up there for a while. All right, back to comments. All right, here we go. And okay, and so now later again. Nola Houston entered the chow hall and walked uneasily to where the senior officers were seated and sat down heavily. She took a deep breath and blew it out slowly and took another. We are either in deep shit or the children are going to save us, or both. What do you mean by that, dear? Albert inquired. And I looked and I beheld a pale horse, and her name that sat upon him was Eleanor Smythe. And she is, she is the angel of death, and all hell followed with her. And power was given to her over the whole earth to kill with hammer and with sword and with lightning and soldering iron and death's stare, and with all hell and the beasts of the earth and the fires of heaven to devour all she slays. And she pointed and then she pointed to the door as Commander Smythe entered, followed by 5 women dressed in black rain jacket and pants, rubber boots, and black rubber gloves, wearing plague doctor masks. 2 of the masks were not seen before, were black and orange. And all hell followed with her, Nora sighed. Country girls are tough and hard as nails. They know how to butcher chickens, goats, pigs, hogs, cows. Blood and guts do not bother them, she said. She gave a shiver. And girls that have been raped can get hard fast when they have the right role model, the right role model and mentor. What are you talking about? Famine, pestilence, plague. Harper, Louise, and Peggy Robinson, respectively. Country girls through and through. And the other 2, Pain and Misery, Margot and Alicia Brighton, Nola said flatly. And, ow. Shoot. Okay, where was I looking at here? Okay, we got 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. I can see that, Captain. Larry Robinson said, especially with what they did to them, especially Margot. Michael and Kimberly walked over with foods a tray. What's up to cause such serious faces? Kimberly asked as she set her tray down. Nola was giving us her assessment of the girls of all hell, Albert said, especially concerning Margot and Alicia Brighton. Part of that was Abigail befriending them, and the PTS video she made them watch with her, Michael said. What happened to them? General Marquez spoke up. What happened to them? They were traumatized. Hang on, let me just make that sideways. Traumatized by the bikers that hijacked their family's truck and the Houston's truck, Michael answered. It's a good thing the O'Flaherty girls weren't, Albert started to say as he skewed another chunk of potato. Slowly, he looked up at Kimberly. Were they? Shit, hang on, I need to... Shit, Kimberly exclaimed as she shot back to her feet. I didn't ask. She stated more than in a more subdued voice as she turned quickly and hurried over to Margot and Alicia. As Michael caught up with her, Kimberly put her hands firmly on their shoulders and pulled them close together. Leaned down and growled in their ears, outside, now, then quickly left before they could ask why. When Margot and Alicia got outside, Kimberly was standing by a tree about 50 feet away with her arms crossed and a foot tapping on the ground. They instantly knew that they were in deep trouble. When they got to her, they kept their heads lowered, and Alicia asked, what did we do wrong? I'll ask the questions first. Did you tell Commander Smythe what the bikers did to each of you? Margot and Alicia both shook their heads and squeaked out, no. If you want to work with her, you will, because if I have to tell her, she will feel betrayed and she will not trust you again. Question 2, did Darla or Tempest tell either of you what happened to them? I promised, Margot started. I don't want you to break, started, and then stopped, S-T-O-P-P-E-D, and stopped. I don't want you to break your promise. However, you can skirt around what you promised, such as, did you specifically say you wouldn't say that something happened to them? Or did you promise not to say exactly what happened to them? Something happened to them like us, Alicia said, obviously getting frustrated with not being able to help. Abigail has been talking with them and showing all of us the PSTD videos. She's been helping us, or at least me. She looked questioningly at her sister. Me too, Margot agreed. And Darla, but Tempest is living up to her name. She needs to be something for days. She needs to beat something for days on end to let go of some of that anger, Alicia said, rolling her eyes. Michael, get sure shot, please, Kimberly said softly to Michael. Then Alicia, you really need to read Eleanor in as soon as possible if you want to keep her trust and keep working with her and us. Yes, Juby, they said, looking like scolded puppies. And now would be a good time, Kimberly pointed to the chow hall door where Commander North. Hang on, I need to change this around. trying to make this standard all the way through it. Where Commander Smythe, Nora, was standing looking at them. Kimberly gestured with her head for Nora to come to them. Make sure everything here. Yeah, okay. Yes, Nora asked in a long, drawn-out yes. That showed she knew something. We have something to tell. Hang on, let me do this right. We come on, it's supposed to be an E. Dang it. We have something to tell you about, as Margot stated. What, that you were both forced to have oral sex with 3 of the bikers and drink their pee? That Margot was sodomized, Nora said flatly. I'm not stupid, you know. I was there when you tricked them into drinking the horse pee. We're sorry we didn't tell you, Alicia said quickly. We were afraid that you wouldn't let us help interrogate the bikers, Margot added. I was going to test you, but after 32 hours, I needed some sleep. Later, I'll talk with Captain Jackson and Captain Moore to see how they feel you did, Nora said in her British accent. But for now, go finish eating. Yes, boss, they said together and hurried back to the chow hall. Michael and Abigail were coming out as Margot and Alicia got to the door. Kimberly said to Nora, get with your team in the Houstons for a debrief and make sure that that's what I forgot here. Team. That the 17 bikers' personal effects are thoroughly searched. Make sure they check for thumb drives, SD cards, and the like. Their motorcycles and RVs need to be gone through with a fine-tooth comb. Look for hidden compartments and such. I'll get right on it. You might want to handle Tempest like you did Sabrina back in the day. Make her fight you and or the Wilds. Have her beat the punching bag and kicking pad, Nora said, and then added quickly, and get ready for an emotional dam breaking. Kimberly nodded as she started walking towards the quad. The quad ETV, the quad ETV. That. There we go. Get it spelled. Get the proper punctuation and stuff in there. We got 2 more people came in. Hey, how you doing? Please hit the thumbs up and make a comment. Just say hi. It helps out with the algorithms. Towards the quad ETV that she and Michael had assigned themselves. We need to go talk to Darla and Tempest about what the bikers did to them. What can you tell us about breaking any of your promises? Hang on here. I need that in here. Oops. And said, NOTH, nothing directly. Said, hang on, Okay, quote, capital N, cut that back there. Nothing directly, but you should be able to figure it out based on what they did to the others. Oops. What they did to the others, period. Okay, there we go. Had to make sure that Abigail dropped some hints there. All righty. They found the O'Flaherty family helping organize the supplies from one of the dozens one of the dozens one of the dozen one of the dozens or one of the dozen trailers dozen PLU plus trailers they had captured from Heaven's Devils the day before. Tempest was stacking bags of rice on the newly built shelves in one of the older trailers. She was stacking faster than anyone else and looked pissed off at the world. Kimberly, Darla shouted and ran over to her and gave her a hug. As she hugged Kimberly, she whispered, "You have got to slow her down. She's trying to kill herself and everyone else. She's trying to kill herself and everyone else too." "I need to talk to both of you privately," Kimberly responded. Darla stepped back quickly and shot a glass at Abigail, who made gestures that her lips were sealed. Kimberly waved to Tempest. Kimberly waved Tempest over to join them and led him away from the work detail. "I finally realized my mistake on the day we freed you. I just figured out that the two of you were also assaulted by the bikers, and I made an awful error when I forgot to ask you if they had. I'm sorry. Please forgive me." "How could you?" Tempest said accusingly to Abigail. "You promised." "All of your friends refused to break their promise to you," Michael said quickly. "Even with the threat of being kicked out of their group," Kimberly added as she looked down at Abigail. "Then how did you know?" Tempest asked, confused. "Finally paying attention to the details," Kimberly sighed. "People saying that you were meeting up with Abigail and she was always had her laptop with her. And you and your silent anger, shortness with people, and working harder than you needed to, had people saying they were worried about you. The pieces finally fell into place. I'm sorry it took me this long to see it." Well, no, wait a minute. "Well, there's nothing you can do." Tempest turned away. "I'm a horrible person." "Why are you a horrible person?" Tempest spun around with fire in her eyes. "Because I enjoyed it and I want to do it again," she shouted, then her eyes widened and her mouth fell open as hands came up to her face as she realized what she said. "I take it you didn't mean to say that," Michael said softly. "See, I'm a horrible person," Tempest started releasing angry tears. "What exactly did you enjoy and want to do again?" Kimberly asked, with all the feeling and concern she could muster. "The taste, the feel of swallowing it," Tempest said quietly, looking down. My mom. Okay, yeah. "My mom told me that some women like it, some don't. Some tolerate it for their lovers, some refuse to do it at all," Kimberly said. "She also said there's no shame or stigma, no matter what you like or don't like to do, including the P. Tempest asked, including the P, Kimberly said. Well, Kimberly chuckled slightly. I'm not sure if I've saved or that was the main topic, but everyone seemed to have a slightly different opinion on that. If I did, I'll copy them for you. Just realize that just because something you thought was going to be nasty and you try it and like it doesn't make you a bad, nasty, or horrible person. If I give you a peanut butter, grape, jam, banana, mayonnaise, and pickle sandwich, do you think you would like it? Hell no, that's gross and disgusting and nasty, Tempest shouted with a SCRUN scrunched up face. Don't bet on it. I think it's very good, Kimberly said with a smile. What? Yelled the other four. Other four. Hang on a minute. Michael. The other three, not the other four. The other three. But it has to be sweet pickle slices. SLIC slices, not dill. Dill pickle does make it taste nasty. Sorry, babe, I love you with all my heart, but no, Michael gave a shiver. I won't be trying that for you or anyone else. Kimberly started laughing. I'm sorry for laughing, but the look of disgust on Michael's face, Kimberly suddenly stopped laughing as her eyes widened a bit. Tempest, is the reason you're so down on yourself is the fact that it was those bikers and not someone you like or might like that did that to you? What do you mean? Looking around, Kimberly saw 14-year-old Evan Peterson helping with the unloading of one of the trailers. What if it was Evan that did that to you in your mouth instead of the bikers? A slight smile flashed across Tempest's face and just as quickly disappeared. If Evan did that to me, I would have bitten it off. So why didn't you bite theirs off? Because they would have killed me and my family. So you were afraid of them. You were afraid of them. Hang on, I need to change this up. But not Evan. Could it be that because they made you afraid and made you do it, and that it turned out that you liked it, and you didn't want to get help in there, and you didn't get to help in their humiliation, that you were transferring your hatred of them back onto yourself? Tempest, stop for a minute. I don't know. Maybe. I just don't. What if Evan asked you very nicely if you would do that for him? Would you bite it off? No. Hang on, let me put this here. No. TEMPE. Tempest said, giving the idea some thought. Would you do it since you said that you like it and want to do it again? I might. Let's say that you do, and then he kisses you and tells you that you are the most beautiful woman in the world and asks you to marry him. What would you do? The smile played across Tempest's face, and she blushed a little. Kiss him back. Would you hate yourself? Would you call yourself a horrible person because you like him doing that? No, I guess not. Just because a real horrible person does something to you and you find out that you like that you like that, hang on, I did duplicate it, that you like the thing, not the person, doesn't make you a horrible person for liking the thing. It means that they are horrible for making you do it without your permission. Do you understand that? Yeah, Tempest hesitated. But if they hadn't done it, would I still like it? Do you like grape juice floats? Michael asked. Tempest scrunched up her face. I don't know. It sounds weird. Do it. I thought it was gross, but now I like it. Tempest, you are not a horrible person, Kimberly said emphatically. Darla spoke up. Thank you for explaining it that way, Kimberly. Now I feel better about myself. I just wish that I had realized what happened to you 4 days ago, Kimberly said. Well, I'm glad you didn't, Tempest said. Why is that? Kimberly asked. I don't know how I would have reacted to your help back then, or whether you would have used the same logic and words, or how I'd feel about myself if you did try to help me then. Tempest sighed. But I do know how I feel and think about myself now. I think that I'm going to be all right. Thank you. Are you sure? Michael asked. Yeah, Tempest paused and thought, I have to apologize to a bunch of people for my behavior over the last several days. All right. Well, those that are coming in and just watching, nobody's making comments. I really wish you would make a comment, say hi or something. I'm going to drink a little water here and hydrate. You guys should too. Hydrate. Darla spoke up. Hang on, I need to fix this up so it looks like the others here. We help Commander Smythe with the interrogations? We'll have to talk about it with her. And Kimberly started. I'm not ready for that, Tempest said quickly. Then neither am I, Darla said softly. She wrapped her arms around her baby sister. Okay, next subzone here. Oh, okay, we're down just to 3, and I'm betting that is me over here on YouTube. And I bet it's also Super Scout and Walt Rogers. Let me throw some things in there for you guys. All right. A hard rain and intense lightning storm was rolling in as Michael and Kimberly, a dozen officers, I need to change this. A dozen officers, NCOs, and all the Saga recruits got back to the workstation. By the time they had finished the 30-minute cool down workout, the rain was coming down hard. Several officers and NCOs headed out when Staff Sergeant Lynn Cole had the SOG recruits break out their rain ponchos and get ready to head back to their barracks. 4 of the female recruits and 2 of the male recruits had left their rain ponchos out out of hang on, let me say out of their packs along with some other gear to get the packs at the 10-pound weight they were told to have. Staff Sergeant Drake Umber started going off on the 6, and true drill sergeant's drill instructor style. And Staff Sergeant Cole joined in. After a couple minutes, one of the girls, Sue Conley, and one of the boys, Brian Adams, looked like they were going to break down and cry. Right up behind them and shouted, "Sue Conley, did I make a mistake in picking you for my SOG?" "No, Captain Jackson." "Brian Adams, did I make a mistake in picking you for my SOG?" "No, Captain Jackson." "Then I don't want to see you cry." Marines do not cry. There is only one cry a Marine makes, and that is a battle cry. "Yes, Captain Jackson," Brian and Sue replied. ST. Hang on, I'm stuck straight. Oh, I got it spelled right. Yay. Straightening up. But you are not Marines yet. You are puke boots, Sergeant Umber shouted in their faces. But you are not Air Force babies either. "You cry and you're out. Is that clear?" Kimberly added. "Yes, Captain Jackson." Michael moved out of view of the recruits and then hand signaled to Sergeant Cole for him to do 50 push-ups. "I think you need some motivation. Drop and give me 50 now," she yelled. When the 6 dropped and started doing their push-ups, the rest did not move. Captain Mark Chapman rushed forward and yelled, "The rest of you are just as guilty of stupidity. You didn't double-check your teammates' packs. You didn't confer with each other on what was really necessary to have, and as such, you have all failed as a team. You all need a lesson in teamwork. Everyone, drop and give me 50. "You heard the captain. Move it now," Lieutenant Chapman hollered as she stepped up to the recruits. Just then, 2 sergeants walked into the workstation bay. Master Sergeant Ricky Potter, USMC, and First Sergeant Army. I need to put that at the end. Put that. Hang on a minute. Dang it. I want that. Okay, let me do it this way. Okay, it's going to do weird anyways, no matter what I try to do. Yep, it did it weird. I really hate that word. If you try to highlight something and take the space before it, not the space after it, it doesn't like to do it. Someone else just came in. Hey, how's it going? All right, so for Master Sergeant Mickey Potter, USMC, and First Sergeant Gwen Judd, Army, they marched over to Michael as he was a captain and the only one not yelling. "Captain, we are supposed to report to Captain Jackson," Master Sergeant Potter said as he saluted. Hang on. "She's a bit busy," Michael replied and pointed to Kimberly, who was in the forward leaning rest position with her head between 2 recruits and was shouting at one then the other. "Wow, 2 captains and a lieutenant getting into boots' faces with the DIs," First Sergeant Judd commented. "I never thought I would see that." Captain Chapman and Lieutenant Chapman are Delta Force G Squadron Troop 3. Their adopted son is one of the recruits, as is my little sister. PFC Holland, who got busted from Staff Sergeant for going AWOL to rescue her sister, who is also a recruit. Our youngest recruit is Jean Bowman. I remember hearing that she and her sister were being raped by their father, and they killed him at the meeting in Fredonia. First Sergeant Judd interjected. She's no longer a victim, I see. Neither is her sister, Michael said, pointing to Cindy Bowman. Master Sergeant Potter noticed that Michael was counting on his fingers. How many are they up to? 53 for Jean Bowman. No, 33 of 50 for Jean Bowman. PFC Jenny Holland shouted, 100, shot to her feet, and then quickly moved over by Jean Bowman, dropped down next to her. You can do it, Jean. You can do it. Do it. Michael moved behind Jean, 38. 75, and she staggered to her feet. Permission to do 5 of Recruit Bowman's push-ups. Permission granted, Staff Sergeant Cole replied with a smile. Hang on, I need to change this here to 100. Permission to do 5 Recruit Jones's push-ups. Tara Jordan shouted. Permission granted, Staff Sergeant Cole replied. Permission to do 10 of Recruit Bowman's push-up, Jenny shouted. Permission granted, Lieutenant Chapman replied. Permission to do 5 of Recruit Jones's push-up, Bobby Tyler shouted. Permission granted, Staff Sergeant Cole replied. And immediately several others were requesting to do the same for those struggling. What's going on? Master Sergeant Potter asked. How long does it usually take for a platoon of recruits to band together? 3 to 4 weeks, Master Sergeant Potter responded. Or more, First Sergeant Judd added. Michael smiled. Day 1 for the early arrivals, and now day 1 for the rest. What? Both Master Sergeant Potter and First Sergeant Judd said together. These are not your normal-minded recruits. They were bonded before by a common heroine, Juby Chan, the ninja girl, Michael said, with a bit of pride in his voice. And most of them have known each other for years in one way or another. True. I have a niece and nephew in this group, First Sergeant Judd said. Now, Kimberly shouted as she walked in front of the platoon as the last recruit stood up. How are you going to get everyone into your barracks dry? All of the recruits remained silent and looked nervously around. You have 3 minutes to come up with a workable solution. PFC Holland, keep your mouth shut. Hang on. Aye, Captain Jenny responded. Officer Sergeants, can I see you over here? Michael called out. As soon as the 3 officers and 2 sergeants turned towards Michael, Jenny signaled for her sister and Abigail to come to her. She took hold of the opening of their rain gear and buttoned one button on each of them to get on them together. Then she walked off as the girls giggled understandingly. After Michael made the introductions, Lieutenant Linda Chapman spoke up and held her hand out to First Sergeant Gwen Judd. First Sergeant, it's good to see you again. It's been a long time. 14 years thereabout since boot camp. Lieutenant Gwen smiled. I see you made good on getting into officer candidate school. Thanks to your motivation and counsel. Then she looked at her husband. Our son is in good hands. Which one is yours? They all turned as Linda was going to point out Donnie and stared in surprise. The recruits were lined up with 6 groups with 3 sets of ponchos buttoned together, covering 4 recruits each. 4 more recruits standing on each side of the rain gear coverings, helping to keep the ponchos covering the recruits beneath. PFC Holland was standing off to the side, looking away from the recruits with her hands behind her back. Kimberly stalked over to Jenny. If you said anything, Jenny looked at Kimberly with shock and dismay. Kimberly, I mean, Captain, I followed your orders to the letter. Kimberly nodded and turned to the recruit. Okay, whose idea was this? Donnie Chapman spoke up. Recruits, Moore A and Holland A. 2 people sharing 1 doesn't work, Alicia said. And 3 people sharing 2 doesn't work good enough to keep them all dry, Abigail continued. 4 people share better than 5 people sharing 4. Yeah, and 5 people sharing 4 gets clumsy. I get my tongue tied here. Clumsy, Alicia said. Kimberly leaned down into Abigail's face. And PFC Holland had absolutely nothing to do with you getting the idea for connecting ponchos together. She never said a word to us. That's not what I asked. She buttoned one of our poncho buttons together and walked off. That's it. Yes, Captain, Abigail said in a way that made Kimberly knew that she was mad at her for making her rat Jenny out. So, PFC Holland, Kimberly said as she turned back to Jenny, you went around my orders? No, ma'am, I did what Marines are supposed to do. And what is that? We are paid to adapt, to improvise and overcome. I improvised a way to give my family a hint so they could figure out a way to overcome this obstacle and learn to think outside the box about disobeying your order. They had to figure out my hint and a way to make it work. They had to use their brains. Your family? Kimberly asked. If you confused? Every recruit here, she said and took a big exaggerated breath. You, Michael, Lynette, your father, besides my little sister, you're the only family I have left in the world. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure every one of you survives. Jenny lowered her head. Even if I have to keep losing rank and not get 5 from your father. Kimberly stepped back in surprise that Jenny would consider herself as come on, herself as a member, MEM, member of Jenny's family, and is willing to and is willing to stay without rank. What did you say, Master Sergeant Potter asked? I lost my staff sergeant rank when I went AWOL to rescue my sister after our aunt was killed. Jenny sighed. I didn't even ask for emergency leave. I just went. Master Sergeant Potter let out a lurch-type grumble and lowered his head and shook it. PFC Holland offered herself up for court-martial when she realized she almost got her sister killed when she tried to ride along with Heaven's Devils to get to Idaho to meet up with Master Gunnery Sergeant Dyer. Michael interjected. That's when Captain Jackson jumped in her face, saying that she was not getting off that easy, that she, Captain Jackson, would be more than happy to make Holland, make Holland worthy to be a Marine by busting her butt back to recruit and running her into the ground for the next 9 months, literally. I busted her back to recruit. Hang on, I'm looking here. Something's just she, comma, Holland, Holland. There we go. Then she added, just because you trip and land face first in a pile of dog for yourself. Master Sergeant Potter nodded with understanding and a bit of approval. Just then, Nora, as Commander Smythe walked in with First Sergeant Young and 2 Marine privates. She walked directly over to Kimberly. Captain Jackson. Hang on. Yes, Commander Smythe. I have 2 17-year-old privates that are requesting to transfer into your SOG. Interesting, Kimberly smiled her best evil smile at them. Recruits at ease. Cadet not cadet. Cade Kemp and Desiree Lane, Nora said in her British accent. Privates Kemp and Lane, what do you know about the requirements of this SOG? All right. And we got a couple more that just came in. Please, if you guys get a chance, give us a thumbs up and say hi to somebody in the chat. Or just say, listening. That works too. Please give us a comment. Private Kemp began. Just what we were able to learn from some of the early arrivals yesterday and friends of members today. 16 weeks of boot camp, then 8 months of intermediate training, 6 months of medical, 5.5 months of SEER training, 3 months of sniper training, and some more. Hang on. Also that you expect a 60% washout rate. Private Lane picked it up. Hand-to-hand will be above anything the military has offered before. Specifically, Jeet Kune Do or something. That's Jeet Kune Do. That's Jet Kune Do. Commander Smythe corrected sternly. My apologies, Commander. Private Lane nodded to Nora. And archery, but no one has said anything about knives and swords. Several recruits let slip a chuckle and a glance from Kimberly. 12 of them dropped and started doing push-ups. 25, Kimberly said. And she then looked at Private Lane. Why would you ask about swords? Because didn't you decapitate 113 Heaven's Devils with your katana sword yesterday? She asked with a bit of humor. And how about cutting 8 arrows in half with one stroke? Rumors. I saw the video. Dang it. Kimberly sighed and added, we don't have any SWOR swords for anyone else to use unless we hang on a second. I believe this is a text message from my daughter. Okay. I got to. So Eli's worker is not working with Eli today, probably because the date changed. So let me take a moment to text my daughter back about that. Right now. About, hang on. About 10. Okay. Let her know what time I'm going to be done, which is being about an hour and a half. All right, everyone, let's get. We don't have any swords for anyone to use unless we find a large stash in one of the trucks Heaven Devils brings to us. You're not going to get in. We are not going to get any more. Then she asked as an afterthought, who showed the video to you? My little sister sent me several, including a copy of you with her when you were at an archery range. A light went on in Kimberly's brain as she remembered the 4 girls and 1 boy at archery headquarters. Cammie is your sister? Yes, you remember her? Of course. Then panic set in. Did she get out of Tempe before the tsunami wiped it out? Private Lane looked down. I don't know. She said they were thinking of flying up to stay with my uncle if things got bad, but I never heard from her again. Kimberly felt like she was punched in the stomach. Where is your uncle at, and what's his name? He's in Idaho. His name is Parker Lane. He's a deputy sheriff in Adams County. Hang on a second here. What? Kimberly, Michael, and Nora all exclaimed as they pulled out sat phones. I got this one, Kimberly added quickly as she sped dialed her phone and accidentally hit the speaker button in her excitement. What? Private Lane asked, confused. Captain Jackson, how are you this evening? Before Kim Kimberly could respond, a female voice came over the phone. Babe, this better be important. We're doing good, Sheriff. We were wondering, do you have a Deputy Parker Lane? Yes, I do. Did his family from Tempe make it there? Yes, they did. They're all doing fine. Private Desiree Lane dropped to her knees and began crying with happiness. Can you tell them that Desiree is here with me and she's okay and is transferring into my SOG? Of course I will. It sounds like Desiree is rather happy. Yes, she is. She's very happy to hear about her family. I'm so glad I could make her day. Sheriff, could you do me a big favor? If I can, could you personally tell Cammy Lane that Juby Chan remembers her? And I'm very happy that she and her family made it out okay. Absolutely, Walt chuckled. Anything else? If she hasn't met your fiance, please introduce her to Cammy and let Cammy know that there are superheroes up there too. I am not, hang on. I am not a superhero, the female voice shouted. Lightning Death, I have seen your videos. I may be known as Juby Chan, the Ninja Girl, and grab arrows out of the air, but you stand up face to face with Heaven's devils and put them down. You're my idol. What? Sarah, Captain Moore here. Sack Davy said that you and my fiance have a lot in common. I'm sure he can get you videos of her. Your fiance? When are you two getting married? She's hang on. Sarah sounded less annoyed now. We were going to get married Saturday like you and Sheriff Rogers, but we decided to postpone our wedding until my father comes with a supply drop. Kimberly said quickly, Quickly. What? Quickly. Your father? Colonel Jackson. Oh, I understand that. What? I understand now. Wait, it's your wedding that Mary and Kathy are going down for? Yes, but you can't let my dad know I'm a Marine. I want to surprise him. Okay, but only if you call me Sarah, not Lightning Death. It's a deal. It's a deal, Sarah. And Sheriff, thank you for the great news about the lanes. My pleasure, Captain. I'll see you at the next intel briefing. Okay, bye. Goodbye, Walt and Sarah said together. And Kimberly hung up sat the sat phone. All right. Oh, I gotta go look. Okay. Well, privates, go get your gear. And by the way, the barracks are co-ed. They tensed up in surprise. Is that a problem? No, Captain. They answered. They answered. Don't worry, the showers and head are not. So far, Abigail muttered. PFC Holland. Take the platoon back to the barracks and make sure everyone is squared away, Kimberly ordered. Aye, Captain. Recruit more. Stay here. Kimberly G.R. growled. Aye, Captain. All right. Hang on a second here. I got to run take care of something really quick, and I'll be right back. So don't go away, guys. I'll be right back. Give me about a minute. Okay, I'm back, and the two people that popped in here just as I started to take off left right away. Okay. Um. All right, let me get a little more of the go juice. Mm, I hate carbonated. Oh man, it wouldn't be so bad if it was lightly carbonated, like A&W root beer. But man, that stuff is overly carbonated. Okay, so says I need to put something in here, please. All right, there we go. And that posted over there. Good. All right, there we go. Once the privates once the privates and platoon were gone, Kimberly whirled around. Meaning of your so far comment. Some of us don't think they should be, Abigail answered. I was talking with the others about two movies that I watched at the CLA at the Clarks. No, at this. Hang on a second. I got to look something up here because I got to get the right person listed on it. So now I got to go to the informational spreadsheet here. Boom. And go to people. And I got to take this up to truck drivers, Canab, Fredonia Group, Edward Van Dien, Sandra Smith. Okay, so that's it. It's the Smiths. At the Smiths, SMI. At the Smiths house, HO house in Fredonia. A real older one that I don't recall the name that I don't recall the name of, where the DI said you will eat, sleep, shit, shave, and shower together. But the other movie is more relevant to us, and that is Starship Troopers, where it showed them doing just that as if it were not a big deal. I mentioned it to several other recruits, and most of them totally agree. A couple of them weren't too keen on the idea, but they weren't against it. She took a breath. I'm not afraid or embarrassed for anyone to see me naked taking a shower, but I will have to work on overcoming my embarrassment at seeing the guys naked, Abigail said, turning beet red. Come on here. Okay. Really? Kimberly exclaimed, and the other ones looked on in surprise as well. Yeah, even Jean is good with it. She said it'd be nice seeing some penises that weren't trying to get in her butt. Abigail scrunched up her face a bit. What about Cindy? Michael asked. She agreed with Jean and was worried about what their mom would say. I'm worried about what my mom is going to say, Michael muttered. We had to do that in the field several times, Mark Chapman said. The first time was the hardest, so after that, we unofficially did it when we got new members so they wouldn't stress out about it when we were out in the field, Linda added. But doing it in boot might not be the best thing. Maybe during the second half of the year during second half of year 2 during SEER training, Mark offered, and they all must agree to it, Commander Smythe added, even if they want to do it now to build cohesion and unity of purpose, and unity of purpose, and building a unity of purpose mindset. It has to be 100%. I agree, Abigail said, not really convincingly. Those that I talked to said we all had to vote on it with a secret ballot, so no one would feel pressured into it. When were you going to take a vote on it? Kimberly asked suspiciously. After we had a chance to talk it over and everyone got to debate it, Abigail answered. But I was hoping that all of you would put in a positive word for it. Why? Michael asked. I want everyone to pass training, she said. She pleaded. But I know we won't. But I also believe if we need this to get as many as possible on the right page. I know this will wash some out. I feel that if they can't get over doing this, then they won't be able to do it in harsher times later on in the training. Better to wash them out now before we get too attached to them, I guess. First Sergeant Judd chuckled. If I would be a cheerleader for it. Unfortunately, it won't. Especially since we have a number of recruits that were having sex before, and 2 who are engaged that are afraid that their willpower to refrain will fail them, Michael said. We told them to just make sure they use different sides. That they said that would work, and they were up for it. Really? Michael asked in surpri in surprise. Just then the rain suddenly stopped. I think that's our cue to head back to the barracks, Master Sergeant said as he saw Commander Smythe already heading not that way, heading to the door. With our luck, Sure Shot's plants will already have called for a vote, and they're doing co-ed showers already, Staff Sergeant Lynn Cole said as she turned towards the door. Don't even joke about that, Michael groused. Captain, if it would guarantee that they would all successfully pass all the components for the SOG, I would co-ed shower with them. They're a great bunch of kids, Lynette said. The best that I've ever seen, Staff Sergeant Umber agreed. They're extremely tight for the first day, Master Sergeant Potter commented as they exited the workstation. First Sergeant Judd leaned over to Staff Sergeant Cole. Who is Sure Shot? I am. 27 confirmed kills, including 4 Quigleys and a hat trick, Abigail stated plainly. And I'm 13 and a half. As they approached the SOG barracks, they could hear a spirited debate in progress. Not angry, just spirited and confused. Phoenix must have made the suggestion, Abigail said. Phoenix? Kimberly and Gwen asked at the same time. Jean Bowman, Abigail responded. Like Jean Grey from the X-Men, Gwen asked. Yes, First Sergeant. Captain Jackson, what other nicknames have been given out? I only knew of 4. Juby Chan, Archer, Mulan, and Sure Shot. If I may, Lynette spoke up. Go ahead, Staff Sergeant. Oh, Donnie Boy, all hands, push-ups, Bagpiper, CB, Marta Harry, Heater, Add Air, Number 3, Parang, White Swan, RB Hammer, Death Wish, Under Siege, Slider, The Wild Ones, Hero Maker, Country Boy, Last Chance, Creedmoor, and Con Me. She chuckled. And one that doesn't need one, Moorhead. She chuckled again and shook her head. Some are obvious, others are more devious. They gave a lot of them to each other. I'll go in first and draw their attention away from the door, away from the door. From the door. So, from the door, if you want to slip into the huts, Abigail said. That way you can listen in and get a feeling for what everybody's thoughts, and then come to your own conclusion. Oh boy. Go, Michael said. As soon as Abigail was inside, he added, I wish Mom and Dad had raised her. Huh? Everyone but Kimberly and Nora and Lynette said. We were separated when I was put into the foster care system. She was fake adopted by the Van Horns. They raised her and spoiled her too much. Oh, several of them said. Inside, Abigail walked to her rack at the far end of the left row. She sat down on her footlocker heavily and started unlacing her boots. Others were discussing their personal feelings on the current topic. Jean, aka Phoenix, had brought up Abigail's thoughts on co-ed showering to build solidarity amongst the recruits. Excuse me. Had a carbon monoxide burp there. All right, inside, as suspected. From what Abigail could tell so far, most of the objections were coming from the guys. She stopped when she was in just panties and sports bra. Everyone was watching to see how far she would go. She saw Michael and the others slip inside and into one of the duty huts. Once Michael and the others were in the duty hut, and once Michael and the others were in the duty huts, they saw something that had been added during the day, a CCTV monitor showing the bay and all of the racks. Lieutenant Chapman noticed a set of speakers and turned them on. Cindy Bowman, aka CB, spoke up. Some of you know that Jean and I were raped by our father. She paused to organize her thoughts. So obviously you don't want this, Harvey Curtis said. You're wrong on that. She surprised a lot of the recruits. In fact, if we were all showering together, Jean and I would feel safer. It's hard to, I find it hard to explain, but we would feel safer. Tamara, aka number 3, spoke up. Most of us that are from Alpine grew up together and worked together on the family farms, which means we got really dirty with mud, blood, cow manure, and, well, since we were little children, we would just wash off the gunk under a common outdoor shower, 6 to 10 of us at a time. So seeing guys naked is nothing new to us girls and vice versa. Eugene Heaton, aka Heater, chuckled. I've been showering with Marta, Lisa, Tamara, and their brothers and sisters for years. We are 5th cousins or less, but I bet that a lot of you are related too. Tristan Judd stood up and walked over to a group of 7 boys. Nelson is my second cousin. Jerry Button is my fourth cousin. Ted Pratt is my third cousin. Jack Tate is my sixth. We've gone skinny dipping for several years, right, Darla, Nancy? They nodded. A bunch of others too. Jack chuckled, then got serious. To us, it's not that big of a deal. For you country folks, Hezekiah Meeks choked out in a squeaky voice. What do you mean? Chloe Reed asked, a little put off by the statement. I'm a city boy. We have a moral code. We don't just flash our bodies to everyone. Hezekiah said, still in a squeaky and nervous voice. Then you never went to the beach, Tuesday Wild chuckled. With as small as most swimsuits are, you might as well be naked in public, and no one bats an eye at them in the city. I doubt any of those string bikinis would be allowed here in public at the public swimming pool. There ain't no moral code in the cities. Tuesday's right. We are city girls, and this is our first time here in the country. And there's a lot more open nudity in the city than there is here. We had cross-gender identifiers in our school locker rooms, so co-ed showering is not a big deal for us. Yeah, and I've been to several nude beaches in California. The first one was by accident, but I went back. I don't have tan lines anymore, Chloe Reed added, so it's not a country folks thing. She glared, G-L-A-R. She glared at, where it says, Control C. She glared at Hezekiah Meeks. How many are going to fail this test? Casey Ryback asked. What do you mean? This is a test, Madison Taylor asked. What I mean is, are you ready to show that you are willing to do what is necessary to get the job done? Get the training you need, Casey Ryback pointed out with more questions. Blank stares came from a quarter of them, including some that were for co-ed showering. Sabrina Jensen, aka Death Wish, stood up and grabbed her towel and started taking her MCCUU off. If you're not willing to do what is necessary to get the job done, you don't have the willpower to pass this course. Right now, the job is to face all challenges and push through and not give up. If being humbled or humiliated is your breaking point, you're not going to finish, Sabrina said. Their job is to break us down and reforge us into Marines. No, not just Marines, Super Marines. Captain and Lieutenant Chapman are Tier 1 operators. Captain Jackson, wants us to be even better. Hang on, I want to fix this here. Make this do it. There we go. Captain Jackson wants us to be even better. I didn't get it years ago when she was trying to get me to push past what was stopping me from becoming a better martial artist. I'm not going to let my self-pride stop me now. I will humble myself and do what they need us to do. She dropped her pants on her rack and stood there in sports bra and boxer briefs looking at him. Do I really want the boys to see me naked? No. But if that's what it takes to build trust with them and camaraderie, then I'll do it. I'm not afraid or embarrassed for anyone here to see me naked taking a shower. But I will have to work on overcoming my embarrassment at seeing the guys naked, Abigail said, turning a little pink as she glanced over at Donnie Chapman. Donnie caught the glance and blushed a little before speaking. I'm going to be embarrassing you ladies for the first time too, but my mom and dad's unit had to do co-ed showers in the field several times. We better get over it, or it might get us hurt or killed when we're out in the field. The co-ed showering was not Kimberly's or Michael's or the Chapman's idea. It was mine. It was mine after seeing a couple movies. If we want to be the best we can be, we need to be tougher on ourselves so we can push through whatever they're going to do to us. This is not a summer camp. This is super boot camp, and it's going to be extremely hard, Abigail said as she pulled off her sports bra and dropped her panties. If you can't look at this, she gestured to her body, pack it in now before we bond with you. She spun around, grabbed her towel, flipped it over her shoulder, and started walking towards the male showers. Time to shower. Everyone stinks. Sabrina quickly pulled off her sports bra and dropped her BOX boxer BRIE briefs. Hang on, I want to go back up here. I'm trying to make sure I spell this right. Stood up, grabbed her towel, taken off MCU. Sabrina says, "Break us down. Where is it? Come on, where is it? Where is it? Where is it?" Okay, no hyphen in boxer briefs. Okay. Let me take that hyphen out of there. And started to follow Abigail. Some of the recruits' mouths dropped open. Cassie, Jean, Cindy, Chloe, Donnie, Eugene, and several others also started to join them, but before they could, and before Kimberly and the others could react to get out of the door of the duty hut to stop them, PFC Holland shouted, "Attention on deck!" as she stepped in front. As she quick QUI. Mower Jensen, get your underwear back on before I make you stand at attention in the rain all night. Michael opened his door and stepped out, followed by the others. "What are you thinking?" Jenny shouted as she looked at Cassidy, Jean, Cindy, Chloe, Eugene, and the others who started to strip. She stormed over to Donnie. "You have a bit more understanding of military protocol. Three steps forward," as she I didn't take that out because I'm not sure what I was trying to say with that when I wrote that originally. Oh, I know. Okay, I remember what I was trying to say here. So this goes here. This comes off of there. I need to restructure this. This goes over here. This here goes down to a lowercase. Got to get this right. This is one of those times where I was typing in really fast and was getting stuff kind of jumbled up when I was typing it up a couple months ago, and I didn't go back and proofread this. She took Sorry. Him. Then she stomped back over to Abigail, who was pulling her sports bra back on. Are you trying to get Captain Jackson busted or court-martialed? This whole Saga experiment is her idea, and it rests on her shoulders. If anyone would get in trouble, it would have been me, not her, Abigail said defiantly. Jenny stood looking at Abigail with smoldering eyes, opening her mouth to continue going off on her. The officer's NCO stopped short of the two, but Kimberly continued on. But Kimberly continued on. Hang on. Okay, I get out. But Kimberly, on the other hand, was having none of Abigail's showmanship and bullheadedness. Recruit more, she bellowed as she stalked over to her. What were you thinking when you stripped naked? Oh, that's right. You weren't thinking, were you? Because you were supposed to let us make a decision. Our decision, not yours. It's my neck on the line, not yours. I'm responsible for everything all of you do. My neck. You screw up and I pay the price. Hang on a minute. I need to highlight that one to bold, and I pay the price. She turned and looked around the room. I accepted you all into this program because even after I laid it out and explained the hardships, you said you were willing to go through it. To dedicate the next 2+ years of your life to it. And no, I want to change that back. 6+ years of your life to it. She turned back to Abigail and shook her head. And you betrayed me. You stabbed me in the back. Excuse me, Kimberly. Captain Jackson, Sabrina spoke up in a breaking voice. What? Kimberly snapped. You mean you didn't send her in here to run a test on us? Why would you think that? You kept more behind. Hang on. Recruit more behind when we left the warehouse. I thought something was up. Then when she came in and no one was with her, I got suspicious. Then she stripped down to bra and panties, and I saw you and the others slip into the hang on here. Duty hut? Yes, duty hut. I was more sure that something was up. Then when Rybeck asked how many of you are going to fail this test, I was positive that this was the test. Then when Moore took off her sports bra and panties, I thought that it was time to do or I thought it was do or I thought that it was do or fail time. So I got naked too. She looked down. I misread this training too. Recruit Moore told us that she and her cohorts were going to get a vote from all of you to see how far you were willing to go and build this unit. Then she goes rogue and tries to implement it. Kimberly turned back to Abigail. This is the second time you've gone rogue on us. If this gets to General Marquess and angers him enough, this program could be scrapped, and I could be demoted to second lieutenant, and Michael could be demoted to first or second lieutenant just because of association with both you and I. And I could also be transferred to Idaho without Michael, without getting married. You are here on a special waiver, and that would be revoked, and you would be banned from military service forever. Kimberly took a deep breath through her nose. You have helped the Bowmans, the Brightons, and the hang on. Sorry, I need to realize. The Bowman, the Brighton, and the Flaherty families with the traumas they went THROU, they went through. And that's great. But when it comes to operational actions, you screw up big time. She turned to Michael. Michael, I love you with all my heart. I love Abigail as a sister very much. But as a Marine, I don't think she's going to cut it. Michael looked down and nodded that he understood. Most of the recruits sucked a breath, expecting Kimberly to kick Abigail out. I'll save you the trouble, and Abigail started. Captain Jackson, General Marquess' deep voice boomed. I would like to speak with you in private. Kimberly turned and saw General Marquess and Commander Smythe, Nora, standing by the door to the duty hut. Yes, sir, General. Kimberly quickly responded and started quick time walking to them. Michael immediately stepped in front of Abigail, who recoiled from the look he was giving her. Next screw up, and you're going back to Van Horn's for a long while. She opened her mouth to speak, but he stopped her with a raised finger. Last time you could have gotten us hurt. This time you may have ruined our lives. Get your MCCUs on, because I have a feeling General Marquess is going to want to talk to you as well. Michael turned and walked over to Sabrina. He looked at her for several seconds. You may skate if no one informs that you got naked, but if everyone here understands why you did it and sympathize with you, they may keep it quiet. He shook his head and sighed. Any test should be what you or the Corps wants you to do, not what Kimberly and I want you to do. I understand why you did what you did. However, we don't want you to try to please us for what you think we want. Just do your best for you and the Corps. Should I get dressed too? Yes, you're on first fire watch. Aye, Captain. The rest of you stand by and wait to be told to be showered, to shower, or whatever the fallout is. All right. Kimberly entered the duty hut and saw General Marquess resting against the desk. She pulled the door closed behind her. Commander Smythe had your six tonight. She came to me, explained that you might need some serious help with over-eager recruits trying to prove that they are worthy of your trust. And them doing whatever is required to pass. Pass boot. He reached up and rubbed the back of his head and neck. We were listening outside and heard pretty much everything. I was surprised to hear that so many were not only okay with Abigail's co-shower plan, but how many already do it as part of farm life, he chuckled. And that one that goes to the beaches and has no tan lines. I'm afraid she's right more than we want to believe. But the biggest point of interest to me is how many took this as a test. A test to stay in the SOG. He paused and rubbed his chin. If PFC Holland hadn't stopped Abigail and he snapped his fingers trying to recall Sabrina's name. Sabrina. Yes, Sabrina. You know, what if she didn't stop them? How many would have joined them taking co-ed showers tonight? There were about 10 others that were starting to pull their T-shirts off when PFC Holland stopped them. And even more that were supporting the idea. But how many would have joined them? I'm not sure. As more stripped down, I believe more would have joined. So maybe 85, 90% maybe, that high. That's what it looked like from their faces and body language. Do you think it would help or hurt the number that would complete the training? To be honest, at this stage, I think it would be a distraction and would hurt their training. If the Chapmans are right, and I think they are, it would hinder their training at this point in time. Captain Chapman thought maybe during SEER training would be a time to have them do it. As it would fit in with that training of doing what was needed to SURVIV to survive. I see, General Marquis said, and sucked on his own lower lip. Let's find out their mindset. A bit more. As soon as Michael finished finished with Abigail, Captain Mark Chapman looked around at the recruits and spoke. We were watching and listening to you for a while. We want to clarify a few things. He paused for a couple seconds. We know that most of you are willing to do co-ed showers tonight. So we have 4 questions to clarify this point. And so you know there is no right or wrong answer, okay? 1, do you want to have co-ed showers because you believe it will help with your training and build a cohesive team? 2, start it tonight. 3, start it during SEER training. 4, you don't think it can help your training, therefore you don't want to do it. Lieutenant Chapman stepped forward. However you answer, it is any impact on any disciplinary actions that may occur for tonight. Is that clear? Ma'am, yes, ma'am, the recruits answered, although some of them were not as energetic as they should have been, including her sons. So answer truthfully how you feel, okay? Ma'am, yes, ma'am. Everyone, stand on this side of the barracks. Mark Chapman shouted and pointed to one side. The recruits hurried to line up on the designated side. If you want to have co-ed showers because you believe it'll help with your training and build team cohesion, line up on the other side of the room. Mark said. All but 4 moved across to the other side. Mark faced those that moved. If you want to start tonight, go stand in front of the entrance to the showers. 10 remained where they were. Then Mark said, if you want co-ed showers to start during SEER training, move by the single racks. Nobody moved. When do you want it to start? Rhonda Snyder, a.k.a. Slider, spoke. After boot camp at the beginning of the intermediate training phase. The rest nodded in agreement. And if we start tonight, and we decide to start tonight, Peter and I will start tonight, although we were hoping it would start after we're married. Ah, that's right. You two are getting married during the break before the intermediate training phase. Well, boy, it's hard to keep my tongue untied sometimes. Linda Chapman said, "Well, don't let that affect your decision. We will start when you tell us to." Peter took Rhonda's hand and squeezed it. But you would like to shower together alone before you start showering with everyone else. Yes, Rhonda and Peter said at the same time. Crap, Abigail said loudly. Come on, team. She started back to where Peter and Rhonda were pulling Sabrina with one hand and Donnie with the other. After a microsecond of hesitation, the rest followed and all lined up behind Peter and Rhonda. Really? Linda asked. Wedding present, Abigail and Sabrina said. Rhonda went wide-eyed, spun around to them, threw her arms around them. Linda smiled at them, then suddenly her face turned into a smoldering scowl. Sorry. She stepped forward and clamped her hands over Abigail's and Donnie's entwined fingers and lifted him up. What's this? She stared at Abigail. Signaling to the others that he is off limits, Abigail said with her head down slightly. And why is he off limits? Because after we complete boot, I plan on asking Michael's parents, who hopefully will have adopted me by then, for permission to ask you to let me court Donnie. Court Donnie? And how long is this courtship supposed to last? That depends on whether or not we find out we are compatible. And if we are compatible, and we both agree that we are, the next move is up to Donnie when I turn 17. And if we're not compatible, as soon as we realize it, and part as friends before we part as enemies. 17? I can live with that, she said, and quickly turned away towards the 4 on the original side. So what are your reasons for not joining them? I don't think that it is right, Hezekiah answered first. Why isn't it right? Because it's not. Every civilized culture knows that. Wrong. Most civilized cultures have common baths and toilets. It's mainly most of a lot of the Western European countries and Middle Eastern countries that have a thing against it. Try again and don't spout lies, Linda said. Hezekiah turned 3 shades of red. I don't think you have the proper mental outlook to last through this intense boot camp. To do the things that we are training to do, Mark added. I'm not sure if you can cut it in regular boot camp, Mark stated. Um, Hang on, let me do it this thing. Hang on, let me break this up a bit here. I'm not sure you can cut it in regular boot camp. Staff Sergeant Cole stated, "What do you think, Master Sergeant Potter?" Nope, not with that mindset. You can go home tonight or in the morning, Mark. Mark. Mark said. Tonight, Hezekiah replied. Staff Sergeant Umber, make the call. Aye, aye, Captain. And what about you? Linda asked the next boy. Seeing the two of them naked, well, this is not what I signed up for, Jace Manning complained. I don't think I'd keep my hands to myself in the showers. It's too hard seeing such beauty and not touching it. I don't, hang on, see a comma, quote, S-I-G, he sighed. I don't want to offend any of the women. It's going to get a lot harder during the hand-to-hand combat, Captain Chapman said. And if you can't keep your hands to yourself, you probably shouldn't be part of the SOG. Can I join the regular recruits? I don't have an attraction to men, he said emphatically. I don't see why not. We'll get you moved in the morning. And you, Linda asked the girl. Madison Taylor opened her mouth but closed it and exhaled heavily. It's okay, Maddie. It's a good thing, Rebecca Hammer, a.k.a. RB Hammer, said, trying to be supportive. No, it's not, Madison complained. Maddie, I would love to have your condition. No, you wouldn't. Yes, I would, Rebecca said, emphasizing each word. Cassie would like it. Cassie would like to have it too. You bet I would. Cassie, AGR, agreed. So would Kennedy, Rebecca added. Damn straight, I would save a ton of money on there, Kennedy, a.k.a. Mulan, agreed. And Rhonda. Rebecca added to the list. Wait a minute, Linda said loudly. If she has a medical condition, we need to know about it. We need to know if it's contagious. We need to know if it's contagious. I wish it was, the girls said together. So do you, Lieutenant Milan said. Trust me, I overheard my dad telling my mom about the problems he had in the box with little critters down there. She pointed towards her groin. I need you to say it yourself, Linda said and added, and if anyone teases you in any way, I will make their life a living hell for the next 2 years, then kick them out. Madison spoke slowly. I don't grow any hair below my jawline. Cool, Steve Kimball said a little too loudly and quickly and clapped his hands over his mouth. Cool? Milan asked quickly. Yes, cool, Steve answered. The adult movie stars spend thousands to get clean from the neck down. You're a natural. Can I be your boyfriend? He slapped his hand over his mouth harder. What, so you can just have sex with me? Madison said snidely. No, so I can show you who I really am and maybe you'll like me. You can talk about that later, Linda said, shaking her head. Recruit Tyler. Was your condition the only reason you didn't go over with the others? Yes, she swallowed hard. I was afraid the boys would make fun of me. No one here will tease you about it. The girls wish they were you. And if Recruit Kimball's reaction is any sign of how the boys feel, none of them will tease you either. Damn straight, Steve said, and most of the other boys agreed. Madison took a breath and blew it out fast. Okay, count me in. She walked across the room to the others, and they began clapping for her. All right, Bart, settle down. And what about you? He asked the last boy. I don't want to show myself to a girl I'm not marrying, Harvey Kurt said. I will slit throats. I will wallow through a septic tank. I will lie still on an anthill. But I don't want any woman but my wife to see me naked. Rebecca Hammer snickered loudly. Is there a problem? Mark snapped at Rebecca for Harvey's dream of only his wife seeing him naked. What do you mean? Over the last 2 years, I've seen Harvey naked in the shower at least 30 times. Me too, echoed Cassie Ryback, a.k.a. Under Siege. And you sing and dance good, too. Emma smiled, B-R-O. She smiled broadly. Yes, he does dance good, Milan said, and started swinging her hips and shoulders as she moved across the floor towards Harvey and belted out the chorus from You Lost That Loving Feeling. Baby. And Rebecca and Cassie echoed back, baby, baby, baby. And all together, bring back that loving feeling. Oh, that loving feeling. Bring back that loving feeling. Now it's gone, gone, gone. And I can't go on. No. Harvey was turning 3 shades of bright to dark red before he squeaked out, what? Why do you think we're always hanging around with your sister at your house? Cassie said. Cassie asked. He gave a blank stare. You never, hang on, never, ever lock the bathroom door when you're showering, and you crank up the Righteous Brothers so loud you can't hear us come in and watch you, Cassie explained. So that, hang on, let me get rid of this. So there are at least 6 of us that have watched you in the shower, and all of us would have said yes had you proposed. Now get those vocal cords over here, Mulan said. Hang on, I need to. Mulan said. All right, Harvey said, slightly depressed, and started walking across the room, and as everyone cheered him on. Well, General Marquis finally spoke. It looks like you only lost 2. He opened the duty hut door. But we picked up 2 17-year-old privates who transferred from the 4th Forcon, and they know they have to start over and do our boot camp, Kimberly said, so we're still at 70. She nudged Nora ahead of her and then closed the door after they were out. Mark Chapman spotted Samson. Sorry. Marquest, Nora, and Kimberly coming out of the duty hut and hurried over to him. Let me change this around too. COMMAND, Commander SMY. Spotted General Marquest, Commander Smythe, and Kimberly coming out of the duty hut and hurried over to them. Sir, we were going to not push. SUGG suggest the co-ed showering to begin with SEER training for those that were still here, but the recruits. Joe Marquis held up his hands. I know we were watching on the monitor. On the monitor. Well, Captain Jackson, what do you suggest? Oh, crappity crap. Okay. I fixed all the clocks in the house except for the timer down on the Mega One power station. It just came on, so I got to figure out how to. Later on, I got to crawl under there and fix the time on it. Well, at least it's starting to go flat for me. All right. So Kimberly stared at the recruits several seconds. I'm sorry, before speaking. SPEAK. before speaking. I would like to talk to them first, but I am struggling with starting at the beginning of intermediate training. Kimberly explained, heck, I'm struggling with allowing it at all. Then I'm good with starting at the beginning of intermediate training, of the intermediate training phase or SEER training. Hang on here. Gen GEN and General ARQUE. Marco said, talk to him, make it, and make your call. And make your call. It is your call. Hang on. It is your call. And I will stand by your decision. Aye, General, Kimberly said, and started towards the recruits when the barracks doors. When the barrack door, hang on, yeah, when the barrack door opened, and I'll put an apostrophe at the end of it. When the barracks door opened up and Staff Sergeant Lynn Freeze came in with 7 of the ROTC cadets behind her. General, captains, she said, she said, where I'm at, she said. Staff Sergeant, what's with this? General Marquist asked. We have a slight situation with the number of racks we have and the number of requests to join your SOG. Lynn stated, these 7 are Marine ROTC cadets. 5 are freshmen, 2 are college transfers this semester. One junior, 1 sophomore. 28 and 18 respectively, both female. The freshmen are 17, are 3 17s and 2 18s. 3 female, 2 male. They all want to be in your SOG. Cadet Sergeant, name. Hang on. Kimberly asked. Patrick E. Stands for Easton. Staff Sergeant Cole. Yes, Captain, she responded and hurried over. Who was giving out the names? Kimberly asked. Sure Shot, Moorhead, Death Wish, Under Siege, and Hero Maker, Lynette smiled. Lynn held out a clipboard. Here's their information, and Lynette took it. Get them named except for cadet staff, except for the cadet staff sergeant and the cadet corporal. They are now acting PFC and acting private. If you and the other NCOs want to name them, that's up to you, Kimberly stated. Aye, aye, Captain. She turned and STE stepped away. All right. Oh, ow, ow, ow. All right, I'm going to change something up here real quick. Banners. Edit. Save. I'm going to switch that to this. All right. Back to comments. There we go. All right. There are some things about the SOG barracks you need to know. First, it is co-ed. The duty huts have one male, one female DI in them. The building across the way is NCO and officer country for the SOG. Right now, there are 4 DIs, 2 male, 2 female. First Sergeant Judd, Master Sergeant Potter, Staff Sergeant Cole, Staff Sergeant Umber. Here at Camp Resurrection, we have a mix of all branches stationed here. There are 4 officers over the SOG. Captain Chapman, Lieutenant Chapman are Delta Force G Squad, Squadron Troop 3. They are Tier 1 operators, just like Navy SEAL Team 6. The other 2 officers are myself and Captain Moore. With your addition to the SOG, if you choose to stay, with your addition to the SOG, if you choose to stay, with your addition to the SOG, it makes 46 females, 31 males. Follow me, Kimberly. Bark and turn. Kimberly barked. Fix this back here. Turned and walked through the middle of the barracks. Recruits. And she called out. We have 7 more to add to our number. We will see if and how long they stay. The recruits chuckled. Now, as far as the shower issue, dead silence fell over the barracks. Someone suggested that the SOG be like the movie Starship Troopers, where the showers and heads are co-ed. Feedback from the NCOs and officers that have been in the box was they had to do that because of their operations and team safety. They even did it when they got new members to get them accustomed to those conditions. But they were already fully trained. After your vote of what you would like, which surprised me twice. First, when 58 of you wanted to dive right into hardcore training and start with co-ed showering tonight, and 10 wanted to wait until the intermediate training phase, and 4 that didn't want to do it for personal reasons. Hang on. Didn't want to do it for personal reasons. I gotta fix the thing. Kimberly Kimberly looked around. Then when the 58 joined the 10 as a wedding present for Slider and Peter, two of the four left and two changed and joined everyone else. Kimberly paused in deep thought. I've been against co-ed showers. So I have always been against the co-ed showers. General Marquis gave the beginning of the intermediate training phase or the SE or the SEER training as thing. Gave the start date of EITH of either the beginning of the intermediate phase or the SEER training with his blessing. Someone else just came in. All right. As started the SEER training with his blessing. Then now we receive 7 more recruits, and they need to vote. And as Commander Smythe said earlier, the voting must be 100%, all or nothing. She held out her hand to get the clipboard back. Then she faced the ROTC cadets. One or more factor in this one more factor in this even coming up was a line from the movie That Sure Shot Watch, where the DI said, "You will eat, sleep, shit, shower, and shave together." She took a breath. This led to the reasoning that doing everything together would build a more cohesive and bonded group. Earlier, I saw the SOG come together when they messed up and didn't check each other's personal gear before we went on the evening run and exercise session, where 6 forgot their ponchos, and it started raining. The whole SOG failed as a team and were made to do push-ups. A certain PFC did twice the number and then dropped next to a struggling teammate and cheered her on. Then another member who did 50% more, barely. Hang on. Okay. One of my grandsons has asked me to come over, and he's one of the ones I trust to come over while I'm on a live stream because he stays nice and quiet out there. Hang on a second. I got to go run and lock the door for him so he can come in. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere, guys. All right. Okay. Barely. One who did 50% more, barely, asked permission to do some for that struggling teammate. Then another member who did twice the amount asked permission to do some for another struggling teammate. No, I don't want to use teammate. I want to change that to boot. 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 Okay, for a struggling boot. Then another did ask permission to another struggling boot, and then another, and then another, and another asked permission to do struggling for other struggling boots. They pulled together weeks ahead of what most new ahead of. They pulled together weeks ahead of most new recruits. She paused again. Is there something to doing hard things together? Hang on. Let's see what we got here. Okay. All right. So I got two grandsons coming over. All right. Well, we're just about time to wrap it up anyways. Is there something to doing hard things together that creates a better team? Yes, there is. Showering, shaving together, one of those things? For some, I don't think so. Is working together to a hard and working together is working together through THROU through a hard and humbling experience. One of those things, I guess it is. She took a breath and sighed. So ROTC cadets, you need to vote. Do you want to join them? Do you want co-ed showers or not? Easton Patrick, how do you vote? Easton looked at the SOG members and thought for a minute and said, yes and yes. Luna Moonwalker. She said it's not a big deal. Yes for both. Gage Griffin, yes and yes. Brooke Davis, yes and yes. Stephen Tyler, yes. Do I want co-ed showers? No, I absolutely do not want them. Will I submit to them? Reluctantly, I will. So that's a soft yes. Grayson Bennett, yes and yes. Bentley Davis, yes and reluctantly, yes. General Marquest gave his blessing to begin at the beginning of intermediate training phase as a start date for co-ed showers, but he said it was my call. She shifted her hands to her head and ran them over her her jet black hair. Hang on, misspelling here. Her jet black hair and let out a groan. I was against this so much, but I need to let everyone know why I am making the choice I am, and I need Michael to know it too. She stepped away from everybody and took her boots and socks off. But first, I need to clear my mind and make sure I say it right. Then she removed her tactical vest and set it on the boots. Then her weapon belt, plate carrier, MCCUU blouse, and finally dragon scale body armor. Then she started doing stretching and simple kata-like moves. Kimberly took a wide leg stance and stopped. She reached down and tugged at the groin of her pants, then stood up and undid her pants and kicked them off and stepped away a little bit. Stopped, peeled off her t-shirt, leaving her in a sports bra and boxer briefs. She went to a wide leg stance, only wider and lower, and she moved more gracefully than before. She slid around the room as if on ice skates. Several of them noticed that her eyes were closed. Suddenly, she started doing flips, kicks, punches, faster and faster. She moved around like a whirling dervish, going faster with each movement. Suddenly, she stopped facing a double rack. Then she lashed out with punches at the rack, and after several punches, pivoted to the next rack. Michael realized she was using the racks as a wooden man post. She moved down the line, punching, kicking, and elbowing and striking with enough intensity to move the racks without breaking them. Commander Smythe spoke softly towards General Marquis, but the Chapmans and NCOs heard her clearly. She is clearly stepping up her control. Her eyes are still closed. Several of them gasped, and General Marquis commented, "Very impressive indeed." When Kimberly got to the last rack, she hit it a dozen times and spun out into the middle of the bay and stopped. And I'm going to stop now because I got grandkids coming. We are, let's see, 227. Let me go ahead and put the highlight here on this so I know where I'm stopping at and double check. So it's 227 or 327. And yeah, it's about 5 pages farther. So yeah, we're going to stop there, and we're going to pick up the rest of it tomorrow. And let me get back up here real quick. $28, $27. There we go. So we're going to stop here, and let me bring me down here. There we go. I want to hit save to save that so it doesn't go away. And then, oh, there it goes. It's taking a long time to save. There we go. All right, everyone. So tomorrow we'll pick up and finish off the rest of chapter 7 tomorrow morning, starting at 11 o'clock Eastern time. Let me have the schedule over here. Tomorrow night on Camp Patton Family Compound, the topic, hang on, let me get this squared up way here. I'll finish on this here. The starting topic, so tomorrow is recanning bulk canned food is the topic for Monday night fireside chat. Tactical Tuesday here on Green Prepping is you can only have 15 types of canned food. So like tuna, peaches, whatever, 15 types, unlimited amount of 15 types, but only 15 types. Thursday night is the Midnight Ride. That's at 10 o'clock Eastern, whereas the others are at 8 o'clock Eastern. Friday night on the homestead is Friday the 13th. Let's do it again. Saturday, I forgot what it was. We just Shadow told me what Saturday's is going to be for his live stream that I co-stream as well. It's a good one. I will have to go back and look to see what it is and add it to the schedule here so I have it exactly what it is. But then Saturday night for Survival Saturday, I'm pulling one from way up in the future, pulling it back because we're going to be changing in September from after the event. What are your plans to the, and starting September, it's going to be the Can You Survive the event? And we're starting with Can You Survive an Active Shooter event on Saturday? All right, so that's what's coming up, folks. And with that, remember, stay happy no matter what life throws at you. Stay safe. Don't go out and do anything foolish. Keep adding to your preps: water, food, medicine, clothing. And if you don't have a garden, start planting one. If you do have a garden, figure out what you're going to plant, okay? And I'll see you tomorrow morning.